So Skip, we just talked a little bit about what the advantages, maybe some of the challenges could be of hiring a youth minister out of seminary. I know you have hired people out of seminary in your church. Have you found that there are any issues with cultural fit in doing that? Any challenges?
Of course. Again, that's a great question, Kelly. There are strengths and weaknesses that you're going to run into, and good fits and challenging fits. But I think if you're in the business of hiring, or you're about to hire out of seminary, or really any other place, you need to pay attention to calling, culture, and mission. Here's what I mean by calling. Someone who has been to seminary has probably done some significant reflection on what their calling is. And if their sense of calling does not fit with your actual need, you're likely to have someone come into the church which a very concrete sense of what they should be doing, different than what your expectations and hopes were for their position. The same factor is going to be implicated by attending to culture. If you have someone coming from an entirely different culture, the easiest one to locate would be someone coming from a very progressive culture into a more conservative church, coming from an Orthodox culture into a progressive church. You may have the kind of flexibility and nuance of ministry where they will attempt to fit to the community they're serving and the culture they're serving, but you're going to have at least as much of a likelihood that they're pretty confident they're doing it right, and if you're doing it differently, you're doing it wrong. And now you're going to be knocking heads a little. And this gets wrapped up, both these questions get wrapped up with the question of mission. You can look at other places on our website or our lectures where we have tried to emphasize the absolute critical importance of a church focusing and discerning its mission and vision for the church and an aligned mission and vision for the youth ministry if they're going to be effective in aligning their program with their supposed mission and vision. If a church does this and has discerned its mission and vision and is attentive to and intent on realizing that mission and vision, and you hire someone out of seminary who doesn't align with or agree with that mission and vision, or they're not culturally attuned to that mission and vision, or their own habits of mind and sense of calling is not attuned to that mission and vision, you've got an immense prospect of a misfit. And this goes to something where I think there is a phenomenon that is not true of every seminary and not true of every student, but we have a culture that too often creates the following phenomenon. We feel a little intimidated that as lay people at a church, we're not really experts in the subject matter that we're trying to manage for our adults or our kids or our adolescents. And seminary is cultivating a sense that you are the experts. So the seminarian too often, not always, too often comes charging out after 3 years of education in a great school with great professors with an idea, I know what's supposed to happen and you don't, and you're doing it wrong. Now, I have a kind of a summary of what kind of ministry that is. It's dead on arrival ministry because the headstrong, you're broken, I'll fix you expertise that doesn't attend to the context, needs, culture, history of the church it's serving is going to result in a devastating conflict. And I wish more seminarians would kind of follow, and again, many do, but I wish they would more often follow a pattern of, just go live with them and love them and listen to them and learn from them why they do what they do, how they experience joy in the Lord or care from the Lord in suffering. Now you can begin to think about leading with them. But again, your question of cultural conflict comes when you haven't attended to the questions of calling, you haven't attended to the questions of culture, and you haven't attended to the questions of mission and vision.